Yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask you about a song on the record, but I want to be gentle about it because I'm not in the business of getting you to talk about anything you don't want to talk about. But I wanted to ask about the song with you and your son in it.
My Little Love, yes.
My Little Love. I don't know if I've heard a more affecting piece of music in a long time. And I suppose I should set it up for people who are listening to this and who haven't heard the song yet. But it's a song punctuated by like recorded conversations, between you and your son. And then it ends with sort of you speaking personally.
Yeah, it's a voicemail that I left with my best friend. Yeah.
Tell me about the decision to put those recordings on the song.
The first time you hear his voice, he says, I love you, I love you a billion %. And so everyone's like, oh, like, but then by the end, like, he's sort of being like, I feel like you don't like me. Like, so it's going on his journey as well as my own, I thought was really important, made it more personal. I thought it'd be nice at this stage in my career also to, like, let people in a little bit more, because I don't share very much of my life. I normally only really share my music, and people have been sort of so curious about where I'm going and what, where I'm at, just in my life, not in terms of being nosy, just be like, oh, I hope she's okay, or, sometimes I guess people might hope for the opposite. I just thought it was a really important song that I wanted to capture people's imagination as much as possible. That's why I put me and Angelo in it, at least. And at the end, I wanted Angelo, with the voicemail that I included. That night, I'd put Angelo to bed when I'd recorded that, and we'd actually had a really good bedtime and stuff like that, and then I fell apart afterwards, and I kept up my strength, and I was consistent for him that one evening, and afterwards just completely fell apart, and I'm not ashamed of that, and I think a lot of parents hide things from their kids, as we should, in most cases, but I couldn't hide from him. He could see me even clearer if I tried to hide from him, so... and I've actually found that it affects men more than women. Like people that I've played it to or that have heard it, the women are like, God, I feel like that a lot of the time. I feel like I'm struggling in my motherhood, whereas I feel like the men I've played it to have never considered how their mum might have felt outside of being their mum. And it seems to really, really touch them, which is great, really, because I wrote it for Angelo, and I wrote it to shine some light on, I didn't always have it together and stuff like that. But it is very personal, and he probably will go through stages of hating it, when he's a teenager and stuff like that. But it was an important part of the puzzle I was trying to figure out, of my life, not the album. So I had to include it.
That moment is important. The moment you find out that your parents are human. Because I think when you're growing up, you would think that they are...
just mum and dad.
Or that they're like all-knowing gods.
Yeah, but that's the thing. In the song, when I say I don't really know what I'm doing, imagine hearing that as a 6-year-old. What do you mean you don't know what you're doing? Like, you'd panic and your whole world would implode. But, I was just trying to be clear with him and just, and just be honest with him. But, it was intense. It was very, very intense, for sure.
And at the end, I think you say something along the lines of, I find myself to be very lonely, but I'm not a very lonely person.
Yeah, at the end, I say, it's the first time I felt lonely, and I love being on my own. But I'm just really, really lonely.
That's quite a gift to give to people.
It may be, yeah. I just definitely, by making that song, it sorted out some of the clutter that was going on in my ability to talk about how I was feeling, So it was definitely a big breakthrough, emotionally, not even just musically for me.
I don't want people to think that this is all one song or one style of song, because there are joyful songs in this record. And there's happy songs, and my favorite songs are the songs where I feel like you're talking to yourself.
Okay, what ones are those?
Hold On is one.
Yeah, I am talking to myself in that one, yeah.